Judiciary. Now in line with the President's directive earlier on in the studio, we do have the President of the Uganda Law Society, Simon Peter Kinobe, who is going to put these directives into context. SP, as you are commonly known. Just give me a sense of what this means for an ordinary Joe like myself.
Now, first, every ordinary Ugandan needs to know that we're dealing with a crisis that has been declared a pandemic internationally. So we have to strictly adhere to instructions and guidelines issued to ensure that this does not become a crisis in our country.
Right.
I think for concern for most of us in businesses is there's been a lot of frustration. The shipments are not coming in, supply chains have been broken. And so I think what we're going to see is an increased strain on our business transactions, price escalation, among others. And as Uganda Law Society, we're saying two things. One, we need government interventions in terms of price control. We need to sensitize the public about force majeure and frustration that deals with the non-performance of contracts as a result of control outside one's person. But also, we keep reiterating the right of victims, of remandees. For instance, those in jails, those that are going to be arrested, the criminals.
But Simon, of course, the thing that stands out here is the fact that already we do have a massive backlog in many of our courts. The system is not as timely as we would want. Now, here is a bang-up 32 days put on the system as it is. Are there other ways that could have been maybe thought of giving the judiciary an exception here?
I think this happened at a very unfortunate time, but we need to electronize our systems. For instance, the judiciary is rolling out an e-system. Unfortunately, this crisis came at a time before they rolled out that e-system. But we should be having Skype calls, Skype conferencing, among others. We have that technology.
As was the case with Stella Nyanzi.
Exactly. Yes. So I think what the judiciary has done is it has restricted those to matters of urgency, bail applications, committals, plea taking, among others. But I think we now need to put more efforts in seeing that the entire judiciary, and not only the judiciary, even the nation, is electronized. We're talking about e-commerce. We talked about e-commerce, I think 3 years ago. People didn't understand what we're talking about. We've written concept notes. Now this is the time, because you can no longer go physically to China to trade.
And goes the old saying, the time to fix a leaking roof is when the sun is shining. But give me a sense of, on one end, we are faced with a pandemic that has been declared by the WHO, and on the other end, some countries like China are waiving VAT, bringing it down to 1%. Isn't this the kind of fiscal intervention that we could have been having?
Now, we issued a statement on COVID-19 a few minutes ago, and one of our recommendations to government is that taxes should be waived on certain goods.
Right.
For instance, by now, I would expect that government would lift taxes on social media, OTT, because now we're going into e-transaction. Right. So you need to encourage e-transaction and less, less physical transactions. We need to lift taxes on mobile money and encourage e-transactions on mobile money, and so that it's affordable. But also companies like MTN, Airtel, among others, need to come in and waive their costs. We are now in crisis mode. Whoever does not understand what is happening, we should actually pray that COVID-19 doesn't come here.
Simon, many thanks for making time to speak to us. That was Simon Peter Kinobe, just giving us a sense of the repercussions and what the future holds, let alone digitizing many of these things.